They're on the news and in the headlines, but what does the president's cabinet actually do? Do they make the big decisions, or are they just mouthpieces for the president's agenda? Spoiler alert, you might think the president's cabinet is a powerhouse of decision makers, but what if I told you they don't actually have much power at all? Let's break down how the president's cabinet actually works, and it's not what you think. First things first, the cabinet is a group of 15 department heads like defense, education, and energy. Their job? Advise the president. But here's the kicker. The founding fathers didn't plan for this. The Constitution never mentions a cabinet. So how do we get stuck with it? Well, blame George Washington. Washington hated making decisions alone, so he started inviting his Secretary of War and Secretary of the Treasury to chat. Fast forward 200 years, and now we've got a whole squad. But here's what you might not know. The president doesn't have to listen to them at all. All right, let's take a quick break for a civics pop quiz. Which cabinet department is responsible for managing national parks? The Department of the Interior. On paper, the cabinet looks powerful. In reality, most big decisions happen far from their fancy conference rooms. It might not have always been that way. Take Alexander Hamilton, for instance. He's the first Treasury Secretary. The gentleman basically invented America's economy. But today's Treasury Secretary? They're more like a spokesperson with a budget and a captain for the executive's agenda. So what changed? 2 words: bureaucracy and TV. Government got bigger and wanted more control, so presidents realized it's easier to whisper to their inner circle than debate 15 people. Want proof? During the Cuban Missile Crisis, JFK ignored most of his cabinet and relied on his brother Bobby, the Attorney General, and a few buddies. So if the cabinet isn't calling the shots, who is? Meet the shadow cabinet, the president's real MVPs. These are the people like the White House Chief of Staff, the National Security Advisor, and other executive consultants. They're not in the cabinet, but they're with the president daily. So here's the irony. The Secretary of Education doesn't run a single school. The real education policy often comes from the Domestic Policy Council, a group you've never heard of. Meanwhile, the Secretary of Energy doesn't actually oversee the country's power grid or set gas prices. Instead, most of their job is managing nuclear weapons. Government-owned corporations like the Tennessee Valley Authority, the TVA, provides power to millions but does not report to a cabinet department. Instead, it operates as an independent agency of the federal government. The cabinet is less about power and more about tradition, advice, and symbolism. But here's what I want you to remember. If you're studying for the citizenship test, memorize those 15 departments. If you're a voter, watch how the cabinet's priorities reflect the president's agenda. So drop a comment below. Which cabinet role do you think is the most important today? Thanks for watching.